Welcome back to another explainer. Look, if you've ever found yourself doing what we aquarists do best, literally just staring at our rocks for hours, only to feel that absolute sheer frustration bubbling up because some mysterious brown slime or green dust is taking over, you are definitely not alone. It's kind of the ultimate aquatic whodunit, right? Well, today, we're turning you into a full-blown tank detective. Consider this your ultimate investigative toolkit for solving the great mystery of cyano versus diatoms.
Okay, let's dive right into this forensic investigation. First, we'll meet our main slime suspects, then analyze visual clues like color and texture. After that, we'll run the infamous siphon test, map out where they like to hide, and finally, build your personal action plan. We're going to gather a solid bundle of clues to crack this case wide open.
All right, Section 1, meet the slime suspects and understand their motives. Before we can banish the slime for good, we really need to know exactly who we're dealing with here and what's driving them to crash your tank in the first place. Let's look at suspect number 1, diatoms. These guys are essentially a totally normal, early-stage biological film. They're driven by available silicates and fresh nutrient conditions. Think of them as the opportunistic, transient visitors of the aquarium world. If you've got a newly established tank setup, these guys are practically guaranteed. They show up the second the lights turn on and that fresh sand goes in, eagerly taking advantage of all that pristine new real estate.
Now contrast that with suspect number 2, Cyanobacteria, or cyano for short. Unlike those transient diatoms, cyano is a glaring warning siren of a system imbalance. It's typically linked to things like excess nutrients, really low flow, unstable waste export, or even fluctuating light and CO2 dynamics. Look, if cyano is in your tank, it's pointing to a deeper, much more systemic issue in your environment that really needs your attention.
Moving right along to Section 2, visual clues, color and texture, analyzing the scene. It's time to step a little closer to our aquatic crime scene. We're going to use our eyes and a gentle touch to gather our very first set of hard evidence.
Now, what's really fascinating here is how distinctly different the color and sheen profiles are when you observe them closely. Diatoms usually present as a brown, tan, or almost golden dust. Notice those words speckled or powdery. It's a very loose look. But cyano paints a vastly different picture. It shows up in dramatic blue-green, dark green, red-brown, or even blackish mattes. And honestly, it often looks visibly wetter or way more gel-like compared to those dusty diatoms.
Building right on that visual, let's look at the physical texture. If you take a clean tool and just give the growth a little nudge, the sensory differences are literally night and day. Diatom growth is friable, meaning it breaks apart super easily into a loose, fine powder. Cyano, however, is a sticky, slimy, gummy sheet that forms cohesive, continuous mats. It just clings together like a wet blanket. All right, Section 3, the siphon test, physical interrogation. This is where things get really fun. We're moving from just looking to actively disturbing the growth to see exactly how it behaves under pressure.
Walk through the siphon test protocol with me for a second. Step 1, lightly touch, nudge, or siphon just a small section of the mysterious growth. Now don't go crazy here, just pick a tiny test patch. Step 2, observe the release. Watch closely as it lifts off the rock or sand. Does it break into tiny particles or does it pull away as a cohesive slime? And step 3, monitor that cleared spot over the next day or two. What you're looking for is a persistent, rapid reappearance. This physical active testing gives us some absolutely crucial behavioral evidence. So when disturbed, diatoms are basically going to disperse as individual particles, scattering into a cloudy residue right there in the water column. But cyano holds on for dear life. It releases as slimy sheets or strings. Honestly, it almost peels off like a wet carpet. And if the underlying tank conditions haven't changed, that cyano is going to rapidly return to that exact same spot within hours or even days.
Now, I know exactly what some of you experienced tank owners are screaming right now. But wait, what about oxygen bubbles? It's a fantastic question, and we absolutely need to address this very common misconception head-on so you don't jump to a hasty, incorrect diagnosis.
Here is the trap. Bubbles are really just a supporting clue, not confirmation. Both diatoms and cyano can actually show gas bubbles purling up under certain lighting conditions. So the crucial point here is, relying solely on whether or not you see bubbles is a massive trap. It will easily lead you astray. Texture and the siphon test are far, far more reliable indicators of who is actually invading your tank.
Moving to Section 4, Location and spread patterns. Where do they hide? Tracing exactly where the suspect sets up camp and how it spreads across your aquascape tells us a massive amount about its true identity.
Let's do some quick habitat profiling. Diatoms are famously found in young aquariums, forming an even, sunbathing coating everywhere, on the sand, the glass, the rock, basically wherever light hits and silicates are high. But cyano? It seeks out the shadows. It actively hunts for low-flow zones, sluggish water, even the undersides of rocks or spots where detritus settles. It just loves those stagnant, lower oxygen areas. And unlike the even, dusty coating of diatoms, cyano actually crawls outward as a connected, expanding mat.
And finally, Section 5, your action plan, bundling the clues for a verdict. We've gathered all our evidence, now we're transitioning to the final and definitely the most important phase of this explainer, bundling all those clues together so we can render a confident verdict and take decisive action. All right, here is your master cheat sheet. Grab a screenshot if you need it. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly why you can't rely on just one single thing. Appearance, dusty film versus a cohesive mat. Texture, powdery versus slimy. Siphon test, particle release versus stringy sheets. By bundling these traits together, you eliminate the guesswork entirely. You gain the absolute confidence to definitively identify your culprit. Once you've got your verdict, here are the distinct remediation paths to start healing your tank. I know, dealing with an algae outbreak is incredibly stressful, but if your bundle of clues points to diatoms, honestly, just take a breath. They are usually transient. Address your source water silicate levels, double-check your filtration, and just let the tank conditions stabilize over time. Now, if your clues point to cyano, you're going to need to gently correct those underlying imbalances. We're talking adjusting your nutrient levels, increasing water flow to those stagnant areas, and improving your waste export. But remember the ultimate best practice. Before making any massive knee-jerk system adjustments, clear a small patch first. Document the changes over several days just to confirm your diagnosis.
Which brings us to our final question for you to ponder today. Are you reacting to a single misleading visual, or are you observing the entire bundle of clues to truly heal your tank? Look, don't let a few bubbles or a tiny patch of brown fool you into crashing your tank's delicate chemistry. Practice patient, structured observation. Gather your evidence, use your cheat sheet, and let the clues guide your corrections. Thanks for joining me on this explainer. Keep observing, keep learning, and we'll catch you in the next one.